Sakorski had a reputation coming in as someone who hadn't beaten top heavyweight competition, but had also never been knocked out. Durability was his calling card. That made getting a clean stoppage a real test for Foreman. Foreman worked behind his jab and straight right hand, setting up his shots methodically rather than rushing. He then landed a left hook that visibly hurt Sakorski, snapping his head back hard. Sakorski stayed on his feet and continued absorbing punishment, showing the toughness he was known for, but he was taking increasingly heavy shots without answering back. Referee Richard Steele stepped in and stopped the contest, judging that Sakorski had taken enough even though he hadn't gone down. Sakorski didn't protest the stoppage. By that point, he'd absorbed a sustained beating while remaining upright.
Rocky somehow stays there and comes back for more.
Part of the interest and allure here is that even though Sakorski hasn't fought the top of the heavyweight division, he's not been knocked out. So part of Foreman's mission here tonight, whatever you think of what he's doing, was to get a knockout. That was important. And my goodness.
Look at his head snapping back. He reminds me of Randy Tex Cobb, the way he can take punches, but he's taking a terrible beating in the process. This is brutal. It is over. Richard Steele's had enough, and frankly, so have I.
Well, and Rocky Sekorski does not complain. He stayed on his feet, but took fantastic punishment.
And here is what finally convinced Steele to call this a night.
Now those punches delivered in a better fashion. The jab and the straight right hand, and you'll see a left hook.
Oh.
That's not the real bad one, but I'll tell you, there's one coming up here. Yeah, now.
Oh, and look at the left, come up and slice the one, and Gerry Cooney's in big trouble. He's ready to go, and there he goes.
2, 3, 4.
And he is badly hurt. Same position he was in round 5 against Spinks. A clubbing right hand by Foreman. Now let's see if he's learned anything about how to survive, because he's got a minute and 8 seconds left. Oh, and that's it.
And I don't think this fight's over. This fight's over. George Foreman blows away Gerry Cooney in the second round. This is the result. This is the finish of the fight, and Gerry Cooney really, for all intents and purposes, the left uppercut, there's the right, it's all over.
You know, George Foreman throws a lot of unorthodox punches. That time he threw an uppercut, he got out over his lead foot, and he threw a perfect uppercut.
Well,
walking in with it.
Yeah, keep in mind, Alex, it's against a man who's really out on his feet. I mean, Gerry Cooney showed a lot of gameness and just trying to continue. Again, George comes in for the kill.
But the thing I was impressed about, Dan, was the accuracy of Foreman.
And Gerry Cooney goes down hard.
And right behind it. Boom.
And you really have to wonder if the strategy...
This fight ended fast and violently. Foreman found Cooney with a left uppercut. Cooney showed heart trying to continue, but with roughly a minute left in the round, Foreman finished it. The fight was stopped in the second round. Commentators specifically praised Foreman's accuracy in this one, noting he wasn't just throwing wild power shots, but placing them precisely on a man who was already.
A great jab, but he just won't use it. That was always the case, even in the old days.
Well, he's using it now, Al. 5 consecutive good jabs, and then he went to the body.
Well, you said this would be a key round, and right now George Foreman is dominating.
That was the first good left hook to the body, which I think he can land all day.
And I'm not sure that didn't really hurt Kawi. I think Kawi wants to quit. That's it.
Well, as I said, Al, he had the will to get by this round, which he did not have.
Well, it's an unsatisfactory ending, to be sure, from all standpoints.
Look at some of those short. The end of there was that good left hook underneath. I think that took all the rest of the fight out of Dwight Qawi. I had been mentioning he was wide open for that punch, and he's just brutalizing him now. Nothing great, no big snap, but the punches are there, and I guess Qawi knew he was out of gas, and that was the end of the fight.
Rodriguez had been fighting frequently that year. 2 bouts within a few months, both wins, one by second-round knockout and one by fourth-round knockout. So he came in with some momentum and recent activity. Early on, Rodriguez pressed forward, coming inside more aggressively than his corner likely wanted against a puncher like Foreman. That aggression left him exposed. Foreman found the opening and landed a left hook that dropped Rodriguez to the canvas. It wasn't a picture-perfect shot. Commentators noted it almost looked like a glancing or awkward connection, but the power behind it was enough. Rodriguez went down and the count reached 10. He didn't beat it. The result, a second-round knockout for Foreman, adding to the run of quick, emphatic stoppages during this stretch of his comeback.
A decision. Fighting twice in 90 in January and April, winning both. One with a second-round knockout and one with a fourth-round knockout. So Rodriguez coming inside more than Dundee would want. He's open. There's a shot. A left hook catches him, and down goes Rodriguez. It looked almost like a grazing shot. It counts up to 5 and 6 and 7. He's not going to make it. It's 8, 9, and 10. It's all over. A second-round knockout for George Foreman. So we answer the questions in a hurry here. Can George stay in there with a world-class fighter? The answer tonight is definitely yes. Misses the right. Now watch the left hook. Here it comes. Bang, right there. And again, it didn't look like it caught him that flush, but George is so big and so strong.
Cozer, the South African contender, came in as a live underdog test for Foreman's comeback run. Early in the fight, Foreman started finding his rhythm with a strong left-right combination that visibly buckled Cozer. Foreman then landed a right hand that sent Cozer down to the canvas. He beat the count but was clearly hurt, and Foreman kept working with the same patient, measured approach that defined this stretch of his career. Not rushing, but not letting up either. With just over a minute left in round 8, Foreman put Cozer down for a second time in the fight. This time, Cozer wasn't able to recover in the same way, and referee Joe Cortez stepped in to wave the fight off, ruling Cozer had taken enough. The stoppage extended Foreman's streak of impressive knockouts during his comeback, adding another credible opponent to a resume he was building toward another title shot.
And the crowd going wild. Foreman now will intensify his effort. As Foreman said before, you can take no one for granted. And there goes Lacusta down for the second time. The crowd urging him to get up again. 3 knockdown rule in effect. Will he make it? No! It is over.
By this point in the fight, Foreman had built a clear advantage, and Ellis had very little left to work with. Foreman closed the distance and landed a left to the face that visibly hurt Ellis. That shot proved to be the most telling blow of the round. Ellis didn't have an answer for it, and it was clear he was fading fast. Referee Richard Steele, watching how one-sided things had become, stepped in and stopped the fight. At the moment of the stoppage, the difference between the two fighters was stark. Foreman still had plenty left, while Ellis had nothing more to offer. It was a clean, decisive stoppage that didn't require prolonged additional punishment to justify.
Doesn't appear to have the overpowering strength.
There's some strong left-right combination by George Foreman that buckles Pierre Cozer, and a right sends the South African to the canvas.
5, 6, 7.
We have over a minute left in round number 8 as George Foreman has sent Pierre Cozer to the canvas.
Second time in the fight that he scored a knockdown.
He wades in now with uppercuts that seem to take their toll, and Joe Cortez takes a cue and stops the fight.
Going into this fight, Foreman was badly behind on the cards. Moer was faster, younger, and had been outboxing him for the better part of 10 rounds. Trainer Teddy Atlas could be seen in Moerer's corner, clearly concerned, working to keep his fighter disciplined and ahead on points, rather than taking unnecessary risks. One key adjustment shaped what happened next. Atlas told Moer to keep moving to his right and stay away from Foreman's right hand. Moer followed that instruction, but in doing so, he kept moving directly into range of Foreman's left hook, a punch Foreman hadn't been landing through the first 8 rounds. By round 10, Foreman had adapted his own positioning to take advantage of that pattern. Then it happened. Foreman landed a short right hand, and immediately behind it, the left hook Moer had been unknowingly stepping into. The combination landed clean. Moer went down and landed flat on his back, visibly not moving well, appearing unaware of where he was. He did not get up in time. Referee Joe Cortez completed the count, and the fight was over. At 42 years old, George Foreman had regained the heavyweight championship of the world, a result almost no one believed was possible going into the fight, given how one-sided the first 9 rounds had been. Replays showed the sequence clearly: the setup jab and feints that kept Moer moving right, the short right hand that landed first, and the follow-up left hook that put him down. It wasn't one lucky punch. It was a picture-perfect 2-punch combination that Foreman and his corner had been setting up for rounds, waiting for the moment Moer's own defensive instructions would put him directly in its path.
Is left even in round 10 of a fight in which he is desperately behind, and Teddy Atlas concerned in the corner.
Well, another reason that the left hook is landing is Teddy said to Michael, move all the time to your right now and stay away from the right hand, so George had to adapt, and there he goes, he's walking into the left hook.
George Foreman enjoying his best round of the fight here in round 10. There's a right hand. Down goes Moer. He's flat on his back. He may not get up.
Maybe he's not moving.
Moer could be about to lose the heavyweight title.
I don't believe this.
Joe Cortez pulls off the count.
It's over.
It is over.
Holy
and George
cow.
Foreman has pulled off the miracle that no one thought possible. George Foreman
Moer
has
is
done
still
it.
down. Moer cannot get up. He's still down. He doesn't know where he is. He's bleeding from the nose. He walked into a picture-perfect left-right combination.
George Foreman, unbelievably, miraculously, is once again the heavyweight champion of the world. Now let's take a look at the replay.
Watch for the beautiful left hook, right hand combination. He walked right into the left hook, followed by the right. Teddy Atlas kept saying to him, move only to your right. George adapted by Moer only moving to his right, which now finally allowed George to start landing the left hook, which we didn't see for the first 8 rounds. Moer out cold.
You asked several times during the fight if Foreman's punch deserted him. It turned out not to be the case. There's that right hand going in on Moer. Down goes Moer. And Arnie, I think we could all tell that as soon as he hit the canvas, he was done. It was over.
The experts said coming into this fight that if Foreman hit Moer the way he was hit by Bert Cooper, that he would not get up. And there you have it. What does this do to the heavyweight division? You've got a man who's going to be, when he defends the title for the first time, 46 years of age, Rich.
There's George Foreman. Here's the announcement now from Michael Buffer.